A book of verses underneath the bough, a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and thou beside me singing in the wilderness. O wilderness were paradise enow. I sent my soul through the invisible, some letter of that afterlife to spell. And by my soul returned to me and answered, I myself am heaven and hell. Yon rising moon that looks for us again, how oft hereafter will she wax and wane? How oft hereafter rising look for us through this same garden, and for one in vain? Indeed, indeed, repentance oft before I swore, but was I sober when I swore? Yet that spring should vanish with the rose, that youth's sweet-scented manuscript should close, the nightingale that in the branches sang, whence, and whither flown again, who knows? My beloved, fill the cup that clears today, past regrets and future fears. Tomorrow, why, tomorrow I may be myself with yesterday's 7,000 years. Heaven but the vision of fulfilled desire, and hell the shadow from a soul on fire, cast on the darkness into which ourselves, so late emerged from, shall so soon expire. With the grape my fading life provide, and wash the body whence the life has died, and lay me shrouded in the living leaf by some not unfrequented garden side. With them the seed of wisdom did I sow, and with mine own hand wrought to make it grow, and this was all the harvest that I reaped. I came like water, and like wind I go. And fear not, lest existence closing your account, and mine, should know the like no more. The eternal Saki from that bowl has poured millions of bubbles like us, and will pour. I sometimes think that never blows so red the rose as where some buried Caesar bled, that every hyacinth the garden wears dropped in her lap from some once lovely head. We are no other than a moving row of magic shadow shapes that come and go, round with the sun-illumined lantern held in midnight by the master of the show. Whether at Nishapuri or Babylon, whether the cup with sweet or bitter run, the wine of life keeps oozing drop by drop. The leaves of life keep falling one by one. And as the cock crew, those who stood before the tavern shouted, "Open then the door. You know how little while we have to stay, and once departed may return no more. Of my base metal may be filed a key that shall unlock the door he howls without. The wine of life keeps oozing drop by drop. The leaves of life keep falling one by one. By the help of God, and with his precious assistance, I say that algebra is a scientific art. The objects with which it deals are absolute numbers and measurable quantities which, though themselves unknown, are related to things which are known, whereby the determination of the unknown quantities is possible. We are no other than a moving row of magic shadow shapes that come and go. Yesterday this day's madness did prepare, tomorrow's silence, triumph or despair. Drink, for you know not whence you came, nor why. Drink, for you know not why you go, nor where. You know, my friends, with what a brave carouse I made a second marriage in my house. Divorced old barren reason from my bed, and took the daughter of the vine to spouse. Ah, love, could you and I with him conspire to grasp this sorry scheme of things entire? Would not we shatter it to bits, and then remold it nearer to the heart's desire? And if the wine you drink, the lip you press, end in what all begins and ends in, yes, think then you are today what yesterday you were, tomorrow you shall not be less. Alike for those who for today prepare, and those that after some tomorrow stare, a muezzin from the tower of darkness cries, "Fools, your reward is neither here nor there." Into this universe, and why not knowing nor whence, like water willy-nilly flowing, and out of it, as wind along the waste, I know not whither, willy-nilly blowing. A moment guessed, then back behind the fold immersed of darkness round the drama rolled, which for the pastime of eternity he doth himself contrive, enact, behold. Why, if the soul can fling the dust aside, and naked on the air of heaven ride, were't not a shame for him in this clay carcass crippled to abide? Oh, threats of hell and hopes of paradise, one thing at least is certain. This life flies, one thing is certain, and the rest is lies, the flower that once has blown forever dies. What? From his helpless creature be repaid pure gold for what he lent him dross allayed, sue for a debt he never did contract and cannot answer. Oh, the sorry trade! A hair perhaps divides the false and true, yes, and a singular leaf with a clue, could you but find it, to the treasure house, and peradventure to the master too. Indeed, the idols I have loved so long have done my credit in this world much wrong, have drowned my glory in a shallow cup, and sold my reputation for a song. Shapes of all sorts and sizes, great and small, that stood along the floor and by the wall, and some loquacious vessels were, and some listened perhaps, but never talked at all. Up from earth's centre through the seventh gate rose, and on the throne of Saturn sate, and many a knot unravelled by the road, but not the master knot of human fate. Wake, for the sun, who scattered into flight, the stars before him from the field of night, drives night along with them from heaven, and strikes the sultan's turret with a shaft of light. Ah, but my computations, people say, reduced the year to better reckoning. Nay, 'twas only striking from the calendar unborn tomorrow, and dead yesterday. Would but some winged angel, ere too late, arrest the yet unfolded roll of fate, and make the stern recorder otherwise in register, or quite obliterate. Ah, make the most of what we yet may spend, before we too into the dust descend, dust into dust, and under dust to lie sans wine, sans song, sans singer, and sans end. Perplex no more with human or divine, tomorrow's tangle to the winds resign, and lose your fingers in the tresses of the cypress, slender minister of wine. For some we loved, the loveliest and the best, that from his vintage rolling time hath pressed, have drunk their cup a round or two before, and one by one crept silently to rest. Now the new year reviving old desires, the thoughtful soul to solitude retires, where the white hand of Moses on the bough puts out, and Jesus from the ground suspires. Iram indeed is gone with all his rose, and Jamshid's seven-ringed cup, where no one knows. But still a ruby kindles in the vine, and many a garden by the water blows. Before the phantom of false morning died, methought a voice within the tavern cried, when all the temple is prepared within, why nods the drowsy worshipper outside? The grape that can with logic absolute the 72 jarring sects confute, the sovereign alchemist that in a trice life's leaden metal into gold transmute. O thou, who didst with pitfall and with gin beset the road I was to wander in, thou wilt not with predestined evil round enmesh, and then impute my fall to sin. 'Tis but a tent where takes his one day's rest, a sultan to the realm of death addressed. The sultan rises, and the dark Ferish strikes, and prepares it for another guest. That even my buried ashes such a snare of vintage shall fling up into the air, as not a true believer passing by, but shall be overtaken unaware. Waste not your hour, nor in the vain pursuit of this and that endeavour and dispute. Better be jocund with the fruitful grape, than sadden after none, or bitter fruit. Whereat someone of the loquacious lot, I think a Sufi pipkin waxing hot. All this of pot and potter, tell me then, who is the potter, pray, and who the pot? After a momentary silence spake some vessel of a more ungainly make. They sneer at me for leaning all awry. What? Did the hand then of the potter shake? The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on. Nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line. Nor all your tears wash out a word of it. And this reviving herb whose tender green fledges the river lip on which we lean, lean upon it lightly, for who knows from what once lovely lip it springs unseen. O thou who man of baser earth didst make, and even with paradise devise the snake, for all the sin wherewith the face of man is blackened, man's forgiveness give and take. The revelations of devout and learned, who rose before us, and as prophets burned, are all but stories, which, awoke you from sleep, they told their comrades, and to sleep returned. When you and I behind the veil are past, oh, but the long, long while the world shall last, which of our coming and departure heeds, as the sea's self should heed a pebble cast. The mighty Mahmud, Allah-breathing Lord, that all the misbelieving and black horde of fears and sorrows that infest the soul scatters before him with his whirlwind sword. For is and is not, though, with rule and line and up and down, by logic I define, of all that one should care to fathom, was never deep in anything but wine.